Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? It's your man, Jay Immanuel. We are back with a new episode of Why We Succeed. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, my man, the one and only Marquel. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, man? What's going on? I'm excited to be here, man. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, man, I'm honored to have you on the podcast, man. My girl, Sierra Say, she knows you. She was
Yeah,
on the podcast
yeah,
not
that's
too
my
long
sister.
ago.
That's
She
my
was like,
sister.
yo, that's my big bro, man. Like, yo,
Hmm.
he's the man. I'm like, yo, let
Hmm.
me reach out to Marquel, see what's
For sure.
cracking. I know you got so many gems that you can
Hmm.
drop on us, man. And one of the things that I always like to start off asking each of my guests who come on is, how do you define success? What is it for you, Marquel?
That's a great question, bro. So my definition of success is having a big vision
Mm-hmm.
and every day making progress towards it.
Mm,
Not even
mm.
actually of accomplishing the vision. It's actually
That-
every day chipping away at it.
I love that. Has that always been the way you define success, or has it changed over time?
Well, at some point early in my life, success was making a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? Having, opulent lifestyle. That was
Mm-hmm.
success, right? Um, being seen as this whatever, right? I mean, because I came out, I got introduced to artists on like the streets and stuff like that. So we just had different things that we aspired to. So at one point, it was just about making money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I started to understand that money is a moving target, right? So
Mm,
it's like it always moves. So it's like, let's say, for example, your goal is to make 20,000 a month.
mm-hmm.
Typically, I'm gonna say it this way.
Okay.
Have you ever had a goal? Have you ever set a goal? Of course you have,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
When you accomplish that goal, what do you typically do when you accomplish a goal?
After you typically accomplish a goal, in my experience, like there's like this short high, and then after that, it's off to chasing something else.
You just set another goal, right? So
Exactly.
typically when you set a goal, you just set another goal because
Right.
typically it's not gonna be what you thought it was. So let's just say,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you never made 20,000 a month, and that's your goal.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to $20,000 a month, people aren't going to treat you differently. The sky's still going to be blue, grass still going to be green. You still going, your AC is still going to work the same way. Nothing is going to change, right?
Right.
So it's like all you're going to do is like, all right, well that was cool. Let's get to 40,000 a month now.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to 40, you're going to be like, can I get to 50,000? Can I get to 100,000 a month? Right?
Yeah.
So it's like I give you another example. So this dude I know, he said that his goal one time was to get a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
This, he would work towards getting a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
He said he finally got the Tesla, and guess what happened?
What happened?
He went into depression.
Wow, I didn't see that coming. Didn't
He
see
went
that
into he
coming.
went into
Wow.
depression because he didn't have another goal.
Mm.
That's all he was
Wow.
focused on, right?
Yeah.
And it's like if with a brand new car is only brand new once.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like a pair of shoes. It's like, yeah, you got those new J's. They're only brand new once. Once you
Right.
put them on and then you wear them out to eat,
That's it.
that's it, right? So it's like it gotta be something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Again, money is a moving, buying new homes is a moving.
Yeah.
This all this stuff is a moving, so it has to be something bigger than that. I know for us personally as a company,
Mm-hmm.
is to help 1 million black coaches, black
Mm-hmm.
experts add an extra $1 million to their annual revenue. So that's
Wow.
adding $1 trillion to the global economy,
Right.
right? $1 trillion to the black community.
Mm-hmm.
10 years from now, what city you in?
I'm in Detroit.
So you in what up though?
What up, though? You already know.
For sure. All right. So 10 years from now, we're gonna fill the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium is where the Falcons play, Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
It holds 81,000 people. So every day I'm waking up making progress towards that. So I get
Mm.
excited about doing podcast interviews, getting
Yeah.
on stages, impacting other people, doing events like we do. Because I know that's getting me closer and closer. I ain't getting on this podcast to make no money.
Yeah.
It's like one person may hear this and that
Mm-hmm.
changes the way they see everything,
Right.
themselves, how they make money, how they impact. They might go off and make millions. And then send a testimonial like, hey, I saw Jay Immanuel on podcast. Saw this brother named Marquel on there, and then this is what happened. So now me and you have impacted them, and they may not
Yeah.
even know us.
Yeah.
So
And
that's the
and that's
play.
so powerful because and I think it's important to say There's nothing wrong with chasing the money, for those who that is their measure, their goal. But at the same time, I think that there's always that distinct difference between people who are in it for the money versus those who are in it to make impact and to change lives. And the
Yeah,
example that you gave is a perfect one. Some people are like, yo, I'm not getting on that podcast. I'm not going there unless it's going to serve me in some way. It's going to
yeah,
help my bottom line, help add more money for me versus, you know what, I'm going on there because I don't know if that's another opportunity for me to be able to reach and help somebody that is a part of your goal and your plan that you set.
yeah. Can I want to give you some pushback for a second on something you said. Is it
Please.
okay?
Of course.
So one thing I heard you say was it's okay to chase the money.
Mm,
I actually used to believe that as well. I used to say,
mhm,
I'm chasing this money. I'm chasing this money. That was my thing.
mhm,
However, think about it.
mhm.
Whatever you chase does what?
Runs from you.
It runs from you.
Yeah.
So if you chase money and it runs from you, you're always going to be what?
Chasing it. Yeah.
Chasing it. So
Yep.
what I believe I don't now, I will say this, and I think
Mhm,
this is what you meant, but I'm
mhm.
just a stickler on words.
I love that.
I think you meant it's okay to make money and make a lot of it.
Right. It is.
That I agree with,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Especially if you're doing it by adding value to other people.
Right.
I don't believe you chase it though. I
Mhm.
believe you attract it.
Mm.
How do you attract it? Well, how do you attract it? By creating value for other people. Like if you want to make money, I even tell my kids, if you want
Mhm,
to make money, you create a solution to a problem. You add value. How do you add
mhm.
value? You create a solution to a problem
Yeah.
and you solve problems for people and they pay you in exchange for that.
Mm. Yeah.
Right
Yes.
now. So we understand. I know that's what you meant, but again, I'm
Mhm,
just a stickler for words. So I think it's important that we attract and we become valuable and we develop skill sets. And when we develop skill sets, that's how we attract money.
I agree, man. Yeah, that's spot on. And I appreciate you for making that clarification and correcting that because you're right. I don't want people to walk away thinking it's one thing when it's actually something else. So I appreciate you for
For sure.
definitely clarifying that. And it's perfect
100%.
because you actually segued into what we're really going to be talking about today, which is that attraction piece. More specifically, how people can attract high quality or, to be more specific, high paying clients. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the coaches and the business owners and the content creators who are listening to this podcast, let's kind of break down what it requires to actually go about attracting those types of clients. What do you think they need to know that oftentimes they don't?
I think a couple things. So number one, I think that they need to know that it's not okay for your client, your ideal client, to be everybody. Right?
Right.
Anything that's for everybody is for nobody.
Hmm.
So you got to be crystal clear on who your ideal client is.
Yeah.
Number one, you have to be willing to exclude people. A lot of times people, they're trying to cater to everybody.
Hmm.
They're like, I don't want to leave no money on the table. Well, by not trying to leave money on the table, you leave money on the table
Yeah.
by not being specific about who you work with, right?
Right.
So you got to get crystal clear about who exactly do you work with and how do you serve them? What is
Hmm.
your thing? Some people say, well, I'm good at a lot of different things. Well, we all are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
However, like, what is going to be your thing though?
Hmm.
You don't want nobody, and I tell people all the time, it's like you don't know anybody who built a successful business that did everything. And
Nah.
I even told my
Nah.
daughter one time, I was like, name somebody who really built something
Hmm.
and they did everything, or they specialize in multiple things. I was like, if you name somebody, I give you $1,000. I do a youth entrepreneurship class here in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I told the class 2 weeks ago, I was like,
Hmm.
if y'all can name somebody, I'll pay you. I give you $100 right now if you name somebody.
Hmm.
Because I'm working on them. Like, you got to focus. You got to pick one thing.
Right.
Like if you can find somebody who built with one thing, more than one thing, I pay you $100. Sometimes people are like, well, she was like Kobe. He got shoes and stuff. I'm like, yeah, he got shoes and stuff, but he got to the point where he got shoes and stuff by playing basketball, but focus on basketball. That's it.
Right.
People like LeBron James. LeBron James basketball,
Right.
right? So sometimes somebody said Deion Sanders because he played baseball and football.
Yeah.
It was like, well, his thing was sports.
Right.
That was his one thing. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yes.
So it's like you gotta pick one thing and figure out when you reached out. Like the title of this event, our top is how to attract clients. Like
Hmm.
people say my name in the business space or in many spaces, people know that's what it is.
Yes.
Attract clients. Now, do we help businesses do other stuff? Yes, we help businesses
Mhm.
scale. We help them show them how to hire and develop leadership teams and C-suites and how to acquire other businesses and how they can potentially sell their business, like the whole gambit.
Mm-hmm.
However, most people don't know none of that because we lead with how to get clients because that's typically the number one burning problem for most businesses.
Right, right. What would you say are some of the myths or the misconceptions that business owners and coaches typically have around attracting high-paying clients?
I think that people think that you have to have a big following on Instagram. You got to
Mm,
have a big, you got to be like flashing cars and homes and all this different type of stuff for people to see that you're valuable. They think that you have to set your prices based on what other people, because I think that's another thing. Go back to your last question. I
mhm,
think these coaches and consultants and service providers and influencers got to know that it's okay to charge people premium prices and charge them a premium 3,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000 in relation to the value that you provide. So I think
mhm,
a big misconception is
mhm,
that people won't pay you premium prices for your genius. Another big conception is you got to have some kind of certifications and all this different type of stuff. Like
yeah,
I dropped out of high school in 10th grade. I got a ninth grade education. It's like people don't ask me like, do I have certifications? I don't have
right.
degrees. I got an honor. I got a doctorate. So people call me Dr. Marquel Russell now. If somebody
Mhm,
I got an honorary doctorate I think last year, but it's
mhm,
like people don't really ask about it. They only care
right.
about can I help them get clients and grow their
Yeah.
business.
People care about the results, man.
That's it.
That's it. And going back to what you said before, if they have the problem and you're
Yep.
saying you have the solution, does
They
that
want it.
solution work? And
Bingo.
if it does, then depending on how big that problem is and how big of a pain it is for them will determine how much they're willing to pay you to solve it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
100%.
And no, go ahead, please. I
No, I was just
apologize.
saying. No, I was just saying 100%.
Mhm. And kind of like when you think about some of the coaches and the business owners that you work with, why do you think some people kind of push back or either have fear of having that $3,000, that $5,000 service or offering that they have?
Oftentimes, it's a self worth issue,
Mm,
right? They don't believe that it's
mhm,
actually worth it. That's number one. Number two is that how they view money.
mm,
So they view money as this limited thing versus
mhm,
this unlimited thing, right? So
yeah,
and they also equate the amount of money they make to how much time they got to work. So for
mm,
example, if they come from corporate, it's
mhm,
like I'm telling them that they can charge 10,000 for a coaching program where they only coach 1 day a week,
mhm,
right? And they're like,
mhm,
what did I used to have to do in my job to make $10,000?
right.
It's like if I made $100 an hour, I had to make what I had to work 100 hours to make 10,000. And they're like, you telling me I can speak to somebody and they'll pay me 10,000 and I could just coach 1 day a week? Like that doesn't make sense because I was taught that I
Mhm,
got to work hard to make money, and
yeah,
making a lot of money ain't got nothing to do with working hard.
yeah. It's about solving problems, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
Think about
yeah.
it. Think about it. We're on this
Mhm,
platform right now for this podcast.
mhm,
I don't know how much this company is worth. I haven't looked it up. Right.
mhm.
However, whoever owns this company, are they working hard?
Wow, man. Like, yo, they did the legwork. They got everything working at one time, and now it's like, yo, sell it.
Bro, they didn't even create the code for this.
Right.
They didn't.
Probably
They just probably
hired
had the
out.
vision. They hired other
Mhm,
individuals to create the technology. They own
mhm.
all the IP, and they probably building something else or chilling right now or working on something
Right.
else. Well, they probably working on something else. People got this false perception of entrepreneurs when they're massively successful. They be like,
Mhm.
oh, people just build businesses and then they go off, make a lot of money, and they go just chill on the beach and stuff like that. It's like, no, entrepreneurs build stuff.
Yeah.
They might sell their company for $1 billion and they'll go build something else. Like that's
Mhm.
that's what we do.
Exactly. Exactly, man. And one of the things that I want to kind of touch on, because most people, they always assume, like when I bring my guests on and they're dropping so many gems like you are now, is that, yo, you ain't never had no struggles. You ain't never had to deal with nothing. Like this has always come easy for you. What would
Mhm.
you say are some of those limiting beliefs that you've had to overcome along your journey?
So when I first got introduced to this whole marketing world, I
Hmm.
actually used to think that I actually used to ask myself, like, are people going to actually listen to me? Because
Mm,
everybody who was teaching this marketing stuff was white.
hmm.
It was like older white guys,
Hmm.
had made money in real estate, lost it all, and they got into all this. So that was a lot of their stories. Me,
Hmm.
I dropped out of high school in 10th grade, came from a drug infested environment, started going to jail at a young age, selling drugs,
Hmm.
the whole nine. So I had a totally different story. My story wasn't like anybody else's story. So I was like,
Mhm.
are people going to actually listen to me?
Yeah.
Number two is like, are people going to actually pay me? Like,
Right.
can I really charge this? Is this
Mhm.
really real? Can I do
Right.
this? So I'm dealing with, all that 100%, just like anybody else.
Yeah. Now, what would you say out there to those who are listening that they may have been, operating their business, but they have never charged premium prices? Like, what would you say are maybe the first one or two steps that they need to take in order to begin attracting those high paying clients so that they can, put out that premium offer?
So I think number one, they gotta decide that
Hmm.
they're gonna start charging premium prices. Like
Hmm.
make a decision. And decide mean pick a price, three
Hmm.
thousand to $10,000 or more. So typically we have our clients who say, choose a price $3,000 to $10,000 or more. Pick a price. That's number one. Number one.
Hmm.
And then if they're not already, create marketing content ads to start attracting individuals to you, helping people in advance, like creating content as
Hmm.
ads and so forth that's actually already helping people solve problems before they even pay you. And then they're going to be more intrigued to actually pay you money.
No, that's good. That's good. And that actually kind of ties into the other thing that we wanted to talk about, which is paid ads. But I kind of want to start with your journey. How did you get into using paid ads to attract clients? How'd you get your start?
So I actually started off creating content. So I did, like,
Mm.
first of all, I did creating content every day. I used to do
Mhm.
SEO, which is
Mhm.
basically if you type something in Google, the stuff that pops up first, or if you type something in YouTube, the first videos that pop up, the ones that don't say sponsored, the ones that
Mhm.
are sponsored, they paid to get there. But the ones that aren't sponsored, though, they're typically there because they did this thing called SEO, so search engine optimization. So they use certain keywords, certain backlinks, things of that nature to actually get their blog posts or their videos in that particular position, right?
Right.
So I used to do that. So I used to create like 3 or 4 videos every single day, rank those
Mhm.
videos. That's how we used to get leads. The only thing was, anytime Google did a new update,
Mhm.
and then, of course Google owns YouTube, it
Mhm.
would remove a lot of our videos for the first page
Mhm.
of Google. So even after we did all that work, that could happen. So we had no control of it. And I used to create a lot of content teaching, and I actually used to avoid ads because I didn't really
Mm.
understand it.
Mhm.
And I just was like, okay, it seems risky. I think I'm gonna lose money. Blah 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 blah. So and nobody really was teaching it in a way that I could understand it. Right.
Right.
Then when I finally got it, I was like, oh man, this is like printing money basically
Right.
legally.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure that there are some other people out there who are in a similar position where they hear people talk about ads and they know that there are people making tons of money and attracting a lot of clients with
Yep.
paid ads, but they're still apprehensive about just kind of diving into it. What would you say to those people when it comes to like overcoming that fear, that apprehension?
I would say there's no better place to put your money than in ads. Now, of course,
Mm.
you got to have a client attraction system. You got to have an
Mhm.
offer. You're going to have some things in place to make it work.
Mhm.
However, when you got that in place, you can put. So I'm gonna give you an example. So most
Okay.
people would tell you, if you want to invest, some people will say go get into real estate, right?
Yeah.
And get some properties that get you 12 to 16% a year.
Mhm.
Great, I get it. I know a lot of people do that. Some people say get some good stocks. You get some good stocks, you can make 12, maybe 20, 25%. If you look at the top investors in the world, Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, they
Mhm.
may be getting 20, 25%, whatever.
Right.
You can do ads, and you can literally get 100 to 300 to 400% every 30 days. You can put a
Wow.
thousand dollars in ads. Let's say you spend $1,000 on ads.
Mhm.
Let's say you got let's say you're getting leads for $10.
Mhm.
So that means you get 100 leads,
Mhm.
right? Let's say out of those 100 leads, 10 of them schedule a call to work with you,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Out of those 100 leads, 10 schedule a call to work with you. Let's say only 5 of them show up to the call,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Out of those 5 that show up to the call, let's say only one of them buy,
Mhm.
and you just made 5,000.
Yeah.
You spent 1,000.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no better place. Some people let their money just sit in the bank,
Yeah.
right? Because they feel comfortable that way. But if you put it into ads and you know what you're doing, there's no better
Mhm.
place to put your
Yeah.
money into.
And I'm curious, when they run the ads, where are they driving the traffic? Do you recommend people drive traffic to like an email list, a landing page, a site where they can book on the calendar? Like, what's your preference? What have you
Great
found works
question.
best?
So we teach this process called the elevator funnel, right?
Okay.
So we take them from an ad
Mhm,
to a landing page where they
mhm.
opt in for some type of free gift, right?
Okay.
They opt in for that free gift, and then that free gift is typically a video where you're teaching somebody something. You
Okay.
teach them what you're going to teach them,
Mhm,
right? And then below the video, they can say, "Hey, click on that button, schedule a call, so we can actually help you do it." So let's say, for example, let's say you teach people how to do a podcast.
mhm.
So they send it to a page and say, "Free video reveals how to create a podcast that helps you attract more clients,
Yeah.
but that you can manage in 30 minutes or less per week," for
Mhm.
example. They opt in for that. Now in that video, you're like, "Hey, I'm Jay Immanuel. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to create a podcast that attracts more clients for your business, and you can actually do this in 30 minutes or less per week," for example.
Right.
Now you teach them. Number one, you're gonna do this, and you expound on that. Number two, you're gonna do this, and you expound on that. Number three, you're gonna do this, and then you expound on that. You can say, "Hey, by
Mhm,
the way, I know some of this stuff can be layered. Some of this stuff can make it be confusing.
mhm,
However, I got a program where I actually can help you do this step by step by step. So if you like to at least have a conversation about how I can help you do it, or help you
mhm.
map out a game plan of how you can do it yourself, click on the button below, schedule a quick call, and let's talk about how we can work together." So then they go over to the page, they fill out the application, go to a confirmation page, and then they come to a call. And not on your email list as well. Because remember, I
Mhm,
said about 10% are going to apply immediately. So
mhm.
now that 10 out of that 100, you still got 90 more leads that are
Yeah.
still on that email list. And some of
Right.
those are going to become clients over the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 100 days, a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because now you still got more leads coming in every day.
Right. Yeah. And that was partially the reason why I wanted to ask that question, because sometimes people will drive people directly to the landing page
Mhm.
and they miss out on that opportunity of, like that in your example, that 90% of people who don't actually book the call.
Yep.
So like you mentioned, having that first step of getting them on the email list. So that way you essentially collected 100% of those leads. And
Yep.
then you'll have that first 10% that you can immediately consider converting into clients, and then, utilize the remainder of that time as long as they're on your list to, essentially get that 90 to become clients one day as well.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Nice, nice, man. So kind of tell me the story behind like the first ad you ran that was like really successful, man. Like what was your response? Were you like, oh man, like yo, this is the wave, like yo, we got to throw everything into this? Like what was that response for you?
Man, so I think the first time I did ads, I think I did a webinar. I think the first time I did ads.
Okay.
Um, I forget what I was selling, but I was like, okay, wow, people are registering, people are showing up. I made some money, and I was like, then I'm always that person that's like, okay, why did this work?
Mm,
And I'm like
mhm,
reverse engineering it, and I'm like, all
mm,
right, let's see, can we do this again, or was this like a mistake? So we did
right.
it again. It continued to work, and I just started to analyze it more, dig into it more, and I basically just got a formula.
Mhm,
Um, I basically got a formula of how to reverse engineer it and do it over and over and over and over again.
mhm. Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, what would you say are the steps that somebody needs to take when it comes to ensuring that the ads that they purchase are making it in front of those high paying clients?
So I think so. So first of all, everybody's a high paying client,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
right? You guys just had a right offer with the right messaging. So you got to have the right offer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
With the right messaging, speaking to the right person at the right time. So you got to have the
Mm,
right offer
mm-hmm.
with the right messaging, speaking to the right person at the right time, right?
Yes.
You got to have all those pieces. You could be speaking to the right person with the right. You could be speaking to the right person with the right offer, but it'd be the wrong time,
Right.
right? So you got to have all those pieces in place. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's important to have that follow up. That's why you have a client attraction system.
Mm,
Most people think that like I'm the ads guy.
mm-hmm.
Ads are part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the entire client attraction system,
Mm-hmm.
your ads aren't going to work. Your client attraction system, most people try to run ads and they think they have an offer, but their messaging is off. I know you had Sierra on here,
Yes.
and I'm sure she talked a lot about messaging. Most
Mm-hmm.
people, their messaging isn't there. They got a great offer. They're
Mm-hmm.
brilliant. They're great at what they do, but they can't articulate what they do and who they do it for and how they can help.
Right.
So they got to have that. And they got to be crystal clear on who is this for? It's not for everybody,
Right.
right? What's their top 10 dreams and aspirations? What's their top 10 frustrations and challenges? You got to know that stuff better than they know it,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to package something and create something that's going to help them get from where they are to where they want to be faster. Most people think people buy based on price. People don't buy based on price. They buy based on speed. So people
Mm-hmm.
have, they can have a current reality and
Mm-hmm.
they have a preferred reality. This is where they are. This is where they want to go. In
Mm-hmm.
between that is a transformation gap. So it's like, can your offer help them close that gap faster than them doing it on their own?
Oh man,
And if they
that's
can,
powerful.
they'll pay you in a relation to that speed.
Yeah, that's absolutely powerful, man. With that in mind, are there any things that you feel like you haven't shared that people need to know when it comes to making sure that they're able to attract those high paying clients that they want to do business with?
I think most people fail
Mhm.
because they don't really set their time horizons big enough, right?
Mm.
So most people are like, well, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna give it 30 days and see how it works. You ever heard somebody say that before? It's like you
Right.
setting yourself up for failure. Well, I'm gonna give
Yeah.
it 90 days. You're
Mhm.
setting yourself up for failure. What does the business look like 10 years from now?
Mhm.
What does it look like 5 years from now? Right. So when we
Yeah.
started out, I told my business partner Dre,
Mhm.
I was like, hey man, I was like, if you think about the Tony Robinses of the world, if you think about the Les Browns of the world, I was like, all those cats got to be replaced.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
one we was just getting started. We weren't making no money,
Mhm.
but I was like, all the big guys who we look up to, they all got to be replaced.
Mhm.
Who's going to replace them? We are. So I
Yeah.
already saw. So sometimes people be like, man, did you see all this happening? It's like, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
jumped in for the end game. I jumped in. Anything I go into, I want to play big. I want to be
Mhm.
the best at it. I
Mhm.
committed to mastery. Most people are in it just to make money.
Right.
If you're in it just to make money, you should get out of this game because money, the game of business, because money is often most time ain't gonna show up as fast as you want it to show up,
Mhm.
right? So it's
Yeah.
like you gotta commit, you gotta persist until you succeed
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
lock in because when it comes to marketing,
Mhm.
marketing is all about testing. So it's like most cases, the first thing you put out may not go the way you want it to work.
Mhm.
So now you got to
Mhm.
do another campaign. Now you got to look at the data. You got to see what you got to change. But in those iterations, that's what most people fall out the game because they get lost in the iteration. The iterations take them out. They're like, man, I
Right.
just made all this. I put in all this time making this perfect video. I put all this
Mhm.
time in making this perfect funnel. I put in all this time making this perfect email. All this time, like nobody told you try to make them perfect because it still ain't perfect.
Yeah.
And then you put it out and it doesn't work. Now you're exhausted because you're like, I put all my time into that. It's like that's not the key. You want to get it out, get some data, and then make some decisions based on that. But most people they don't really have the perspective to do that. I
Right.
think that's why having a coach is so important.
It is, and that's actually something that Sierra and I was talking about. Just one of those things that she was saying, if she had to go back and do it again, she would have hired a coach a lot sooner.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, like that is something that I think needs to be reiterated. You know, if
Yeah.
there is somebody that you identify who has accomplished the things that you want to accomplish and they offer coaching, then definitely go there.
Mhm.
And with that in mind, like who would you say are some good coaches that you would personally recommend for people out there who want to, up their game when it comes to attracting clients, getting better with paid ads, or even just marketing in general?
Well, Client Attraction University, that's our company. We're the best. Like
That's
it's
right.
second to none. So yeah, that's it. It's Client Attraction University.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And how can they get in contact with you guys if they do want to work with you?
So I would say we got content all over the internet. So wherever you type
Yeah.
Marquel Russell in, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever, got good stuff pop up. We actually got an event you can check out. And we do it virtually. It's coming up. You can actually go to wealthyblackcoach.com, wealthyblackcoach.com. So it's a 1 day, we call it the Rapid Business Growth Workshop. And we show
Mm.
you how to consistently get 5 clients, high ticket clients every single week for your business. So just go to wealthyblackcoach.com and you can actually register for free right now. So I'm not sure when you're watching this or if we've
Yeah.
changed it, but
It's
right
up, it's up
now
right
you're
now.
saying, yeah. Oh, we are right now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bet. So wealthyblackcoach.com.
Mhm.
Go get registered.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure that I go back and include that link after we wrap up today, so that way they'll have easy access. It'll be right there in the description over on YouTube. But man, yo, Marquel, this has been absolutely amazing opportunity to speak with you. Before we wrap, I just want to hand the mic over to you. Are there any questions that you like to ask me personally, or any last or closing words you like to leave our viewers with?
I would say closing words, man. I would say right now we live in the best time in the history of the world to be alive. I can't say it enough. We live in the best time in the history of the world to be alive. Like never in a million years did our ancestors have access to all the resources that we have. Like we have ancestors that built empires. We got the Madam C.J. Walkers of the world. You got the Herman J. Russells of the world. You got the A.G. Gassens of the world. You got the O.W. Gurleys of the world, right? They didn't have StreamYard.
Nah.
They didn't have YouTube. They didn't have
Right.
Facebook. They didn't have Zoom.
Nope.
They didn't have Facebook ads. They didn't have
Yeah.
TikTok. Like you can put your so man, let's think about this, bro.
Yeah.
Soon as you go online, you have
Mhm.
a global business.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter how new you are. Soon as you go online and you start talking about your business is immediately international because people
Right.
can see it anywhere where that platform is reached. Our ancestors ain't had that opportunity. So now we got to take advantage of this opportunity because years from now,
Mm-hmm.
30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years from now, we'll be sitting on the porch with our great grandkids or grandkids, and we'll either be telling one or two stories. One story will be, man, this internet thing came through. I took advantage of it, built something, and because of that, you have all of this to build off of and continue the legacy. The second story, some people are going to be telling 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, this thing called the internet hit. All I did was sat around and consume content. I never implemented anything. I just gathered new information. I never did anything with it. Right. And because of that, now you got to figure out how you going to build something and start something for your family. We get to choose which
Yeah.
story we're going to tell, but we all got the same opportunity. People can't say it's because I'm black. People can't
Right.
say it's because I'm a man, I'm a woman. People
Nope.
can't say it's because where I'm from, or I don't have a degree, or I don't have this. No, you got Google, you got YouTube, you got
Yeah.
podcasts, you got access to all the information. You just got too many excuses. So you
Right.
got to have a bigger reason why, than a bigger reason why not.
Oh man. Yo, Gems, man, you just dropped the mic right there. Let everybody
Mhm.
know how they can get in contact with you, show you some love and support, or work with you.
For sure. So I'm easy to find, man. So just so easy. We're pretty active on Instagram and Facebook.
Mhm.
So if you go to Instagram, put in Marquel Russell. It's the one just Marquel. It's like right here because like
Mm.
people be creating fake accounts of me and stuff like that. But so it
Yeah.
has to say it has to be one L, two L's in Russell, spelled exactly like this. If it ain't spelled exactly like this, if they start DMing you talking to you about
That
Bitcoin and all
ain't
that, that ain't me. That ain't me.
him.
That ain't me. So shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, like, hey, I was on the on Jay's podcast. Would love to connect. Or like I said, go to wealthyblackcoach.com. That's wealthyblackcoach.com. Get registered for our event. And yeah, looking forward to talking to you soon. Or like I said, just shoot me a DM. I'm pretty simple, pretty easy to connect with. And yeah, let's see if I can help. I'll be more than happy to.
I love that. I appreciate that. You guys definitely make sure you guys tap in with Marquel. Follow him. If you do slide in the DM, since he gave y'all that permission to do so, as I always say, make sure you come in the DMs with a direct question, a specific question or request, or some
For sure.
gems that you want to share, or something that could be beneficial to him. But man, Marquel, this has been a joy. I appreciate you taking the time, being a guest on the show. If you ever want to come back, you got an open invitation, man. Thank you for everything
Cool.
that you shared with us today, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. So just hang on for a minute and we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode. I look forward to catching you guys next Friday. Until then, stay blessed.